Good evening. I can't rip off my jersey like Hulk. I might get charged. Dr. the Honourable Keith Rowley, political leader of the People's National Movement and Prime Minister, other distinguished members of the head table, the Member of Parliament for St. Anne's East and Minister of Education, Councillor Abina Hartley, I have to say that, Councillor Jamil Biznat, the Member of Parliament for Port of Spain South, Keith Scotland, all our successful candidates in Port of Spain and Diego Martin, my other colleague from Diego Martin, the Honourable Simon de Nobrega, Member of Parliament for Diego Martin Central, the Honourable Stuart Young, Member of Parliament for Port of Spain North. So we're sharing a platform tonight, Port of Spain and Diego Martin. I'll be very quiet tonight, as is my usual behavior. Even when I let that walkout that is on the back of my jersey come outside. And by the way, I described it as frivolous and vexatious. And I couldn't stay there. They were lying on Dr. Rowley. I couldn't take it. I walk out. And it was a righteous and justified walkout. Probably the most righteous walkout in the history of our parliament. But let me just do some housekeeping matters. And I'm rushing in. You know, they say fools rush in where angels fear to tread. And I've been told don't talk about Tobago matters. But since my name was called by the Honourable Fali Augustine in his budget presentation, and I think he called me evil and wicked and oppressive and whatever name he could call me. And he said that I starved the Tobago House of Assembly of money in the 2017 to 2021 period. Let me briefly state the truth, because that fella is, in fact, it appears, a stranger to the truth. So you all know we had some very, very hard times in this country from 2016 right down to 2022. Different reasons. In 2016, the price of oil collapsed from $100 to $25. We had to deal with that. In 2017, the price just won't go back up. 2018, other problems. 2019, pressure. 2020, COVID. That was pressure. Then 2021, we start to come out of COVID, but we're still in difficulty. And 2022 was our best year in the last 7 years. Let me tell you what the facts are. The estimate of revenue for fiscal 2016 initially was $60 billion, because we only had 3 weeks when we came in 2015 to do the budget. So essentially, we had to use the budget numbers that already been prepared. So we had 3 weeks, in fact 2, because you have to send the documents to the printry 1 week in advance. So we used their figures. You know they like Rachifi. So the estimate of revenue for 2016 was $60 billion. Because the price of oil crashed from $100 to $25, we only got $44 billion. So our revenue in Trinidad and Tobago was reduced by 25%. And we had to scramble. We had to cut expenditure everywhere. Prime Minister addressed the nation. We had to reduce expenditure down to just about $50 billion. It wasn't easy. It was hard. But we managed to pay salaries on time every single month. So we lost 25% of revenue. You know how much the THA get cut by? By 5%. In 2017, we estimated revenue to be $47 billion. It was 36, pressure in retail again. The country had to make do with a reduction in revenue of 24%. We cut the THA by 2%. In 2018, we estimated revenue at 46 billion. We got 43. The country had to make do with a cut of 6%. Tobago get cut by 0.8%. You understand where we're going? So we treated Tobago much better than we treated the rest of the country. Those are the facts. As I said, the young man appears to be a stranger to the truth, and all the other years are the same. But let me go now to the PNM. Let's forget about them. Don't really want to talk about them too much. Since this government came in, and you heard how I spoke about how revenue was always much lower than expected because all kinds of things happen in the country. But despite that, despite the fact that revenue dropped from 60 billion to 44 billion in our first fiscal year, well, you know what this PNM government did? Because we had made a promise, and we keep our promises. We had said in our manifesto that we will increase the personal income tax allowance for individuals from $5,000 a month to $6,000 a month. And we did in that first extremely difficult year. So what that meant, that anybody earning $6,000 or less, no income tax. And it was tough, you know. And we reduced VAT from 15% to 12.5%. We promised that in the manifesto. It wasn't easy. That was a rough year. But we in the PNM believe in keeping our promises. What we also did for elderly people, before we came in, if you were earning old age pension and national insurance pension, and a combination of the two, you were limited to a total of $5,000. We add $500 on top of that. So the cap on combined old age pension and national insurance pension went from $5,000 to $5,500. First budget speech 2016. It wasn't easy to do. We also provided free driver's permits. I remember this just the other day when I went to renew my driver's permit. And I'm a little bit over the age of 60. And we also provided free driver's permits and free passports for over 60s. We also increased the stipend in the on-the-job training program by 20%. We did all of that in year one. You see, I'm telling you this because people like to say, and they have some people in the press who like to repeat that foolishness, PNM ain't do nothing. So let me go to 2017 now. What did we do in 2017? 2017 was also a difficult, difficult year. But our eyes are always on the poor and the vulnerable. So what we did in 2017 was people who have an electricity bill of $300 or less, we're giving you a 25% rebate, $75 off your electricity bill. We did that in 2017. Moving on to 2018, what did we do? Again, thinking about people, thinking about helping people. What did we do? We decided to deal with a number of measures to deal with creation of employment, incentives for people to build hotels, incentives for people to invest in infrastructure, and so on. That was what we did in 2018, another very, very difficult year. Then we come into 2019. We still gain pressure, but that's all right. We decided we will continue to do budget measures to help people. So, for young families, first-time home owners, we increased the threshold for stamp duty for first-time home owners on a value of a property from $850,000 to $1.5 million. Meaning that if you bought a property for $1.5 million or less, and it was your first home, you would save $37,000 in stamp duty. That's what your PNM did for you in 2019. Just one of the things we did. We increased the value of the food cards by $100 a month. We increased the value of public assistance grants from 1,150 to 1,300, 1,400 to 1,550, and so on. We increased the disability grant from $1,800 a month to $2,000 a month. We increased the cap on old age pension again. We start off, we increase it from $5,000 if you have both pensions to $5,500, and in 2019, we increase it to $6,000. So somebody getting both old age pension and NIS pension could get a maximum of $6,000 now, $1,000 more than when we came into office. That is what the PNM did, and we tried to help everybody. As I indicated, we not only increased disability grant, public assistance grant, food card, senior citizens pension cap, we also increased the allowance for tertiary education. So for those parents who are sending their children abroad, and I know that there are many among us who have sent children abroad, we increased the tax allowance for tertiary education from $60,000 a year to $72,000 a year. That's what we did in 2019. And we didn't stop. 2020, COVID, under pressure with COVID, what did we do? We increased the minimum wage. Right in the middle of COVID with all that pressure, we increased the minimum wage from $15 an hour to $17.50 an hour. Is this PNM do that? We increased the wages of CPEP workers by 15% under COVID. We increased the wages of URP workers by 15% under COVID. That is what this government has been doing, ladies and gentlemen. And that we didn't stop there. 2021, we had a budget measure to give free mobile Wi-Fi to underprivileged families. It's called MiFi. And the Minister of Education would have rolled out that plan in 2022. That's what we did in 2021 budget. We also increased the stamp duty for first-time homeowners from $1.5 million to $2 million. Again, trying to help every single person. And so it went. In the 2023 budget, the last one we just do, we did it again. Remember when we came in, if you were earning $5,000 a month, no tax. We increased that to $6,000. Then we sent it up to $7,000. And this year we sent it up to $7,500. You're talking about over 200,000 taxpayers now pay no income tax, courtesy the PNM government. And it's necessary to say these things because they're always saying we do nothing. I don't have time to talk tonight, you know. I could talk for about 5 hours about what the PNM do in the last 7.5 years. What we've done as well, a very innovative program, which was championed by our political leader, the Prime Minister. The Housing and Village Improvement Program. And some of you in Diego Martin already have begun to benefit from that, as well as other parts of the country. And we're spreading this program throughout the country. And what this is that the Land Settlement Agency will provide a 2-bedroom basic starter house up to a cost of $165,000 for flat land, $170,000 for sloping land, $175,000 for hilly land, free of charge. It's not a loan. It's not a mortgage. Once you qualify for this, once you are in the category, the income level, you are going to get a starter home from the LSA through the caring hands of the People's National Movement. It's a very successful program. And we will put more money into that program, more and more money into that program. And let me come to another matter, and I think I can use this opportunity to announce it. We recognize that people are hurting from COVID. We recognize that small businesses in particular struggle. We recognize that when your hand in the lion's mouth, you have to do something to get the hand out. So that during COVID, we recognized that small businesses struggled to pay their statutory obligations. They struggled to pay their national insurance contributions. They struggled to pay their income tax. So we have introduced an amnesty which we introduced in November of last year. We extended it several times But today, in recognition of the fact that now with the new Procurement Act in force, companies, whether you're small or you're big, you're going to have to pay your taxes. In the past, some people got obliged, but now, if you want to supply goods and services to the government, you have to register with the procurement depository and you have to pay your taxes. And if you can't pay them, you have to make some agreement with the Board of Inland Revenue. So we recognize that people were in trouble. So today, the Cabinet, after a lot of discussion, thinking about small businesses in particular, recognizing that you have to put your house in order. If you weren't doing your accounts before, if you weren't doing your financial statements before, you have to do it now, because we have proclaimed this Procurement Act. Everybody clamor for it, but when they get it now, they realize they have to register, they have to pay the NIS, they have to pay the income tax. So today, we extended the tax amnesty to the 31st of August, 2023. So put your house in order. Put your house in order. Because after that, I don't think they have another amnesty. Let me just go back to the situation with the Tobago House of Assembly. I want to make it crystal clear that the allocation given to the House of Assembly by this PNM administration in 2022 is the highest ever in the last 6 years, actually. The amount of money we give the Tobago House of Assembly in the allocation in 2022, $2,122,000,000. The PNM THA in 2017 got $1.9 billion, in 2018 $1.9 billion, in 2019 $1.9 billion, in 2020 $2.0 billion, 2021 $1.9 billion, but this THA has received $2.122 billion. And you need to understand the point I made at the beginning. While Trinidad, and I'm kind of ashamed to say this, while we had to cut Trinidad from allocations of 60 billion down to 50, we only take a little few percentage points out of Tobago every single year. Every single year we had to take allocations from Trinidad, but we made sure that Tobago got theirs. This is why I am very unhappy. I don't want to call this young man names. That's why I'm very unhappy at the fact that this young man is so much a stranger to the truth. $2 billion is what they get. $2 billion, while Trinidadians get cut by $10 billion. I'll tell you, I'm ashamed to say that. In fact, it's only when he opened his mouth, he made me go and look. In fact, a Tobagonian tell me he really sorry the man opened his mouth, because it made me go and look at the figures to see what really went on. So coming back now to 2023, we increased the income tax allowance to $7,500, and we also dealt with the rebate for electricity. Previously, it was 25% of $300, and we've increased that to 30% of $300. So if your electricity bill is $300, the government will pay $90. You only have to pay $210. And I'm told by the Electricity Commission that that will help 210,000 households. 210,000 households, which is 50%. There are 400,000 households in Trinidad and Tobago, and that electricity rebate is helping 50% of them. So let me just close off now by talking a little bit about this whole local government reform, because this party is going to do something once and for all about local government. Everybody complains about local government. You ask the corporation to patch a pothole, no money. You ask them to clean a drain, no vehicle. You ask them to cut a recreation ground, the backhoe down. Everybody who has to deal with a local government corporation, whether it's a PNM corporation or it's a UNC corporation, it's the same old story. No money, no money. And also, the other complaint is we can't tell the public servants what to do. The council will pass a motion to do something for the betterment of the residents of the community, and the public servants just won't do it because the councillors have no authority. We are changing that in Tobago. You think any public servant could tell the chief secretary and the secretaries what to do? No. The Tobago model is an executive council. It's like a mini cabinet, and they have the authority to get things done in Tobago. That is the simplest description I can give as to what we're doing to local government. In each corporation now, you will have an executive council with authority to get things done. But that doesn't solve the money problem. That doesn't solve the money problem. So, for the last 13 years, 14 years, nobody has paid land and building taxes. Nobody. The Treasury has lost out by about $1.5 billion, some say $2 billion in revenue over that time. What we have decided to do with property tax is make it go straight to the corporation. Now, when you listen to the other side, it's lie, you know. When we put in the local government reform legislation that the property tax will be collected by the local government corporations, kept by the local government corporations, and used by the local government corporations to help you to patch your roads, to clean your drains, to fix your recreation grounds, to fix your cemeteries, to fix your community facilities, and so on. We put that in the law. The first lie they say it's not there. So we had to prove it to them, look at it in black and white. So the next thing they're saying, well, that is old talk. Well, it's not old talk. Corporations like Diego Martin and Port of Spain stand to get as much as $50 million a year from property tax. That is more than they have right now for the entire development program. It's more than double the entire development program. You could imagine what they will do with that money, or what they can do with that money for your betterment. So we intend to change things. We intend to give local government bodies the power to get things done. And we intend to give them the funding to get things done. So it's a big change. That's our change. They want no change. They want you to vote for them, and the old system, the council has no money, and the public servants rule in the roost. That is what they want. We intend to change that. And let me end by dealing with the leader of the opposition. But that woman could lie. Lie? I saw this nonsense for the first time on a public platform where the Honourable Kamla Prasad Besessa read out some nonsense somebody write for her. Because she don't write her own speeches, you know, somebody writes them for her. So she read out this foolishness. Can't imagine who wrote it. Oh, the government intends to impose an inheritance tax. So if your uncle dies and leaves you property, or your parents die and leave you property, the government will take 25% of the value of the property. I hear the woman say that. I say, what jail is this? I gone on Twitter one time. I sent out a tweet. I said, that is lie. That is lie. We're not talking about that. We're not thinking about that. We're not writing about that. And we're not doing that. I said, that's the end of that. I said, that's the end of that. You know, they give the lady another written speech to read. And next one where she ain't read it. And she just there. I see on a public platform 2 nights ago. And she reading this thing. And the government intends to impose inheritance tax on you. Boy, lie. Bull-faced lie. I hope I don't hear that foolishness again on a UNC platform. This PNM government is doing no such thing, will do not such thing, is not thinking of any such thing, will never think of any such thing. We are not going to tax the dead. So on August, I only think in December, I think in January election already. On August the 14th, who are you going to vote for? I can't hear you. On August the 14th, who are you voting for? That's not loud enough. On August 14th, who are you voting for? And why are you voting for the PNM? Great is the PNM, and it will prevail. I feel